Speech off.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So guess what? My brow note is back and I'm here to do my final December wrap up. I read a ton of books in December. I did not count them. I'm kind of going to go over them because this month's kind of like book updates were super all over the place. So I'm going to go kind of over just the titles of the ones I haven't gone over and what I rated them. No, the titles of the ones that I have gone over in past videos, what I rated them, just so you can kind of see what I read throughout the month, you know, in one place. And then I'll go over the ones that I have not discussed in a video because I kind of fell off book reviews after a while. I sort of got sick of having to memorize things. So yeah, anyway, let's just do this. So, okay, here's my list. So let's just start with the books I already read. I read all of the Christmas Hope series. So the Christmas Shoes, I gave 3 stars. The Christmas Blessing, I gave 4 stars. The Christmas Hope, I gave 5 stars. It's my favorite of the series, I think. Okay. The Christmas Promise, I gave 3 stars. The Christmas Secret, I gave 2 stars. I hated this book. I actually do a whole like book review, like reviewing all of the books in one of my past videos. You can go look for that. So yeah. So the Christmas Secret, 2 stars. The Christmas Note, 5 stars. This is another one of my favorites. Total upswing. And then I took a break from the Christmas Hope series and read A Cliche Christmas by Nicole Dees. I already talked about this one in a past reading update. I think it's reading update number 1. I gave this one 2 stars. Not a fan. Sorry, Nicole Dees. You can listen to my rant later if you haven't yet. The Christmas Blessing by Melody Carlson. I gave this one 5 stars. Also talked about it in reading update number 1, I'm pretty sure. Then I read The Madness of Crowds, Armand Gamache number 17 by Louise Penny. I gave this one 5 stars. Loved it. Talked about it in that same update. Then I read The Christmas Light, another Christmas Hope book. I gave it 4 stars. Then The Christmas Town, I gave 5 stars. Loved that one. The Christmas Star, I gave 3 stars. Ugh, kid was annoying. And then The Christmas Table, I gave 4 stars. And that's the end of the Christmas Hope books. They were all really small books, so I read those pretty quickly. Then I finished the Armand Gamache series with A World of Curiosities by Louise Penny. I gave it 5 stars. Can't really talk much about it. It's a book in a series, but I think I might have brought it up in reading update number 2. Then I read Flight by Lynn Steger Strong. I give this one 4 stars. I think I first heard about it from the Book Talk, etc. podcast. I talked about that one in my reading update number 2 as well. It was okay. The Vanderbeekers Ever After. I gave this one 5 stars. This is the last book in the Vanderbeekers series. Loved it. Made me cry. I was not expecting to cry at a Vanderbeeker book. Yeah. Then I read Joe and Laurie by Margaret Stoll and Melissa De La Cruz. I gave this one 4 stars. I've been meaning to read this Little Women adaptation for years. I did a book review on it. You can find that. But for my Christian fiction readers, this is totally safe for you guys to read. Like, if you like Little Women, read this adaptation. I promise there is nothing like, you know, explicit. Like, this is the same people, just a different twist on the story. Like, Joe and Laurie and the whole family, you know, like, what if Laurie continued pursuing Joe? That kind of thing. But more details in my review, but read it. It's great. Then I read A Season to Love by Nicole Dees. I gave this one 3 stars. I also did a book review on that one, so I'm not going to really talk about it. I liked it more than the first one. But yeah, okay. And then I read The Christmas Angel Project by Melody Carlson. Gave this one 5 stars. I did a book review on that one, as well as The Christmas Joyride by Melody Carlson. I heard about this one from book lover Amanda. Loved it. 5 stars. And then Now we are going to go on to the books that I have not talked about, finally. The books that I started reading from December 19th on. So I decided to participate in Debbie December. I think Lizzie Faye loves books. The Bookish Knitter is also part of it. I know Mitzi from Mitzi Reads and Writes and Storm from Storm Reads also participated. Not sure who else, but yeah, I didn't really follow the prompts. I just kind of read a bunch of Debbie Maycomer books. So the first one that I read was A Season of Angels by Debbie Maycomer. I give this one 4 stars. So, okay. Did you guys know that the Angels books, like the first few ones, are not available on Audible or like on audio digitally anywhere except on CD? The only reason I was able to listen to these first 2 is because I get like books through Braille Institute and they're free for blind people and I enjoy the narrators, so I listen to them that way. But if you're a typical person, you gotta find them on CD. And I actually stopped reading after the first 2 books because the narrators from the Braille Institute library, some of them are great and some of them not so much. And I wasn't interested enough in the rest of the books to enjoy the narrators. So anyway, I read A Season of Angels. I give this one 4 stars. I'll read the description. Wishes for love bring hope from above. Surely, goodness, and mercy, 3 willing but sometimes wayward angels, are each given someone's prayers to answer. Surely, she's sent to help 9-year-old Timmy Potter, who longs for a new father. And although his mother, Jody, has vowed never to trust any man, Shirley is determined to help her love again. Now that, I'm just going to stop here and kind of talk about my feelings on each storyline. That kid was cringy. Like, he was wanting a dad so bad it was like secondhand embarrassment almost to read about him. I liked him, but he was like, can you be my dad on this woman's first date? Like, chill. You're 9. You're not 4. Act your age. I don't know. But the ending of that story, I'm not going to tell you what it was, but it was such a good twist that I never saw coming and I loved it. So it was worth it. Okay, so goodness. She knows Monica Fisher longs for a husband and home of her own, but the young woman has practically given up on finding the right man to stand by her side until goodness steps in to help. I hated the storyline. Hated it. Monica was so annoying and stuck up, but the guy that they picked for her, I couldn't stand him either. Like, I know I'm supposed to like, I think I just don't like people who have hard exteriors, even if they have good reason to have them. So, like, this guy was just, and he's just so cocky and stuck up. I was like, I cannot stand you. And the fact that he, like, gets her in the end, it's, like, so infuriating. So, yeah, I did not like either one of them. And Mercy, the last storyline. Can Mercy bring hope back into Leah Lundberg's life? This maternity nurse desperately wants a child to fill up the home she'd made with her husband, Andrew. But there's just one catch. Each angel must teach her charge a memorable lesson before the prayer can be granted. So Leah's story was great. I loved Leah's story. I actually think they should make a movie out of this particular book. But they didn't. They do the Mrs. Miracle books. But yeah, I really loved Leah's story too, and her resolution. I wasn't completely expecting. I mean, I kind of was, but I kind of wasn't. Like, how it happened. But it was a really realistic kind of, type of thing. There is kind of a scene in this book of the 2 of them doing it that I had to skip over. I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, other than that, I mean, they're married, so whatever. I mean, I don't care if you do it married or not married. Who am I? Judge and jury, not me, but I didn't need to see it and I wasn't expecting it. Anyway, but I did enjoy the book. So then I decided to finish the Virgin River series because the last 2 books are Christmas books. So I read My Kind of Christmas by Robin Carr, Virgin River number 18. I gave this one 4 stars. This one is about Angie, Jack's niece, bar owner Jack, and Patrick Reardon. I actually really enjoyed this one. The couple was fun. I didn't you know, I didn't have my usual issues with romances with this book. It was really good. Angie is she just recovered from a car accident, and her Uncle Jack is super overprotective. He was a little annoying, but she didn't let him push her around. And when he came to confront her, she's like, yeah, I had sex. Get over it. I enjoyed that so much, even though, maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know. It was just yeah, I probably would have said the same thing, even if, yeah. I just kind of enjoyed her pushing back against authority. I always enjoy that in books. And Jack thinks he can tell his niece what to do, even though she's 25 or whatever. So it was kind of fun. Then I read the second Angel book, The Trouble with Angels. I gave this one 3 stars. I like this one much less than the first one, which is another reason why I decided not to keep going with the Angel series, apart from the narrators. I just looked at the rest of them and I didn't care. Okay. When those irrepressible angels, surely goodness and mercy, set out for the city of angels to grant 3 rush Christmas prayers, they soon find it will take more than one miracle to teach their precious lessons of love, as well as make 3 special holiday dreams come true. So we have Karen. She wants her mom to stop hating her dad. They're divorced. And man, it is so hard because I'm a grudge holder, and I love it when a person holds a reasonable grudge, in my opinion. And I thought she was holding a reasonable grudge. The problem was that she was holding a grudge to the detriment of her kid, and that I could not get behind, to the point where she was making it so that he couldn't see her by she was holding the kid from him because of what he did to her, and that's not okay. I'm okay if she just decides never to forgive him. That's cool with me, but don't use your kid as a pawn. And that's what she was doing, so I didn't like her for that. But I also didn't particularly love the love interest for her. I don't know. I don't like people who push other people into being with them. And that's kind of the romance that was with them, so I didn't really like that. And then Goodness's prayer, she's helping a preacher, he's grieving the loss of his wife. So that was just, I was sad for him. He was depressed. And then Mercy helps an older lady. She's a care home, and she wants her grandson to find the right girl, and she has the right one in mind, this one who works at the home. But he's already with this other one that she's not a huge fan of. And I didn't like the storyline either because he's knowingly with this other girl. I mean, don't get me wrong, this other girl sucks, but he's trying to get with this care home girl while he's still got the other one on the side, and I didn't like that. Ugh, I don't know. 2 pushy relationships in this one, and I didn't like it. So I was done with the Angel series after that. So I went back to a romance that I actually did enjoy. Return to Virgin River by Robin Carr. This is the final one, and I'm so sad. I gave this one 5 stars, and thus completed the series. This one's about a writer, Katie Sloan. She basically goes to her friend's, a family friend's house in Virgin River to write, and when she gets there, the house is burned to the ground. There's a fire in process, so she has to find somewhere else to stay. So she ends up renting the guest house of this vet, and they sort of fall in love, and it was kind of cool. He kind of gets her to not be afraid of dogs. He helps her with the grieving process for her mother who died. That's why she's trying to get away from her mother's house. And she also has kind of a complicated relationship with her dad, which is really interesting. That's what I like about the Virgin River books, a lot of them. There's more than just the romance. There's a lot of depth and family drama to them too. So yeah, it was a great ending to the series. On another note, Paul Haggerty, according to this book, has 5 children. I want to know who the rest of them are. When did they come up? Because I know that they were pregnant with number 3 in an earlier book, but we never hear about them. Boys, girls, what? I want to know more about this family. 5 kids? We need an update on Paul Haggerty. Stat. Anyway, then I went back to Debbie Maycomer and I read Mrs. Miracle by Debbie Maycomer. This is another one that is not available on Audible and apparently only available on CD. Thankfully, good narrator through Braille Institute, so I listened to it. Actually, it was actually Braille Institute got the rights to the audio CD for that one and converted it for their book, so it was actually the good narrator. Sometimes they buy books that way so that we can get them for free, the commercial market ones. But yeah, it's weird because like Audible hasn't like gotten the rights to that one, even though it exists on CD and you can buy it. Thankfully, I didn't have to, but anyway. So Mrs. Miracle is like this angel type figure. She's kind of like your average Mary Poppins, and she comes in to this family's house. This man is struggling to raise his twin boys. It's your typical Mary Poppins style thing. They kind of run off all the housekeepers being terrors, and she comes in and match makes him with this travel agent who helps with the Sunday school play or whatever, the nativity. And then there's like a side story with the twins' grandparents about to get a divorce. The twins actually lived with their maternal grandparents after their mom died because he couldn't handle fatherhood. You know, is it bad that I kind of judge him a little bit? Like, you ditch your kids for 4 years and you get them back and you expect them to be okay with you? Yeah, smooth. Anyway, whatever. I did enjoy the book, generally speaking. The dad's girlfriend, I already forgot the dad's name, the travel agent, is also sort of holding a grudge against her sister for doing something that I consider grudge-worthy, so I would have been okay if they'd not forgiven and forgotten. Put it this way, she did something very bad in my personal opinion. So, yeah, but I love this book. I actually watched the movies for these 3, for the Mrs. Miracle books. I liked the first movie, but I felt like Mrs. Miracle, she's played by Doris Roberts, who's Marie on Everybody Loves Raymond. She's no angel. Like, she's too funny, not mystical enough. She's like, hey, Busta, just, I don't know. Her voice just doesn't fit angel. So I didn't really like her portrayal in any of the movies, but I still had fun with the first one. Anyway, there's that one. Then I read Call Me Mrs. Miracle. I gave this one 5 stars. This one's about, this one actually takes place in New York City. And Mrs. Miracle is like one of the sales ladies at a toy store. And she basically is dealing with this cranky, like, sales guy who is trying to prove himself to his dad, and he basically buys a bunch of robots and he swears they're going to sell, and his dad thinks he's crazy. And he kind of runs across this single mom. No, she's not a single mom. She's like has custody of her nephew because his mom passed away and his dad is deployed, and she's not very well off, and this little kid wants this particular robot that is super expensive, and they fall for each other, yada, yada, yada. And the man kind of has a thing against Christmas because of family stuff that happened to him. So, yeah. I did not like the movie of this one because it was total opposite story of a robot. Like, just the whole movie was upside down. The robot ended up being a terrible toy or something. And yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Then I read Gideon's Gift by Karen Kingsbury. It was actually a story collection called the Red Gloves Collection. These 4 like short stories all have like red gloves incorporated into them. And I was actually wanting to read the second one, Maggie's Christmas Miracle, because I'd recorded the movie on Hallmark and I wanted to watch it. I found it like on Hallmark, and because I was looking for the Mrs. Miracle movies to record so I could watch them after I read the books. And then I found that Karen Kingsbury book, so I decided to read the whole series. So, yeah, Gideon's Gift is the first one. It's about a family who's kind of not very well off. Little girl gets leukemia, and she befriends this like homeless man, and well, I wouldn't say befriends him. He's a jerk to her. She's trying to be all sweet and cute, and she has cancer, and she kind of changes this man's life. It's a tearjerker. Can't really say more than that because it's a short story. 5 stars. Then I read the final Mrs. Miracle book and Mrs. Miracle Christmas. I didn't read Mr. Miracle. Not interested. But I gave Mrs. Miracle Christmas 5 stars. Mrs. Miracle comes in to help take care of this woman's elderly grandmother who's getting dementia. And this woman and her husband also want a baby. And yeah. So Mrs. Miracle, what's funny about this book is Mrs. Miracle is a little bit more free when she kind of talks about being an angel because grandma over there Nana has dementia, so they wouldn't believe her anyway. So we get to hear more about her friends, Shirley, Goodness, and Mercy. So like in the first 2 books, you sort of know she's an angel, but she doesn't say it. But in this one, she kind of almost admits it. So it was a great read. I love those books. And the movie for that one was okay. They changed some stuff a bit. So, for one thing, they didn't give the grandma dementia. But, okay, whatever. Then I DNF'd The Christmas Promise by Richard Paul Evans. This is supposed to be about some kind of sibling rift, and then one of them dies. They're twins, and something about lockets, and... Okay, it sounded really interesting, but I got an hour into it, and I'm telling you, nothing happened but exposition, so I got bored, and I dumped it. Then I read The White Christmas Inn by Colleen Wright. I think I heard about this one through Book Lover Amanda, if I'm not wrong. It's about all these people who end up at an inn. A bunch of them are there for a wedding, and other ones are there. One of them is there to write, and other people kind of get snowed in there, and it's kind of all of them just sort of coexisting together. There's a man named, I think, Marcus, and he falls in love with, like, the writer, and he has 2 kids. That was the only story I was really interested in. As far as they went, like, the rest of them were kind of just there. I was mostly interested in their romance. And then, like, the owners of the inn. It was kind of fun, like, just everyone being snowed in, and what are we going to do about food, and just, that's the kind of Christmassy thing I like. Then I read Maggie's Miracle by Karen Kingsbury. Gave this one 4 stars. This one's about a single mom and a little boy. The little boy writes a letter to God asking for a dad. And basically Maggie's miracle is that she meets this kid when she's little, like after her parents divorced or separated or whatever, and she kind of falls in love with him. She meets him for one summer, never sees him again, and then voila, there's Maggie's Christmas Miracle 20-something years later. Kind of the gist of it, but it's more fun to read it. Then I read The Angel of Forest Hill by Cindy Woodsmall. I gave this one 4 stars. I promise most of these books are really short. This one's really short too. This is about an Amish family. I saved this one for Christmas. I had it on my TBR for a long time when I was on my Cindy Woodsmall rabbit hole. It's about this woman who, like, she is kind of mistreated by her family, her parents, and she has a bunch of brothers. She's the only girl, and she's kind of the Cinderella. And she is asked to go to this, like, teeny tiny Amish town to help care for a bunch of fatherless children after the wife passes away. And she goes there, and, like, the woman had just had a baby, so there was, like, a newborn, and she kind of steps in to care for them. And so the bishop basically suggested her and the dad of the children get married because no one can help them out. And so they do. It's kind of a marriage of convenience that slowly turns into something else. So it's kind of them falling in love, and it kind of ends around Christmas time. So it was a good one. I enjoyed it. I love her. Cindy Woodsmall, the author. Then I read, finally, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Would you believe I've never read this book? Like, ever? I've seen, like, plays. I've, like, read the play in school, I remember. And I'm pretty sure I've seen a couple of movie adaptations, but I never actually read the book, and I finally did. And, I mean, I think if you see the movie, you can read the book. Like, you don't really have to read the book. Pretty much the movies are as the book is. There's no differences, really. But I still enjoyed it. I listened to the Ralph Cosham version. Kelly from Kelly Reads a Lot said to listen to the Tim Curry version. I tried. Not a fan. And I love Ralph Cosham from the Three Pines series, so I listened to him. I had to buy it. Who cares? It was great. He does a great Scrooge voice, so I enjoyed it. Then I read Sarah's Song by Karen Kingsbury. It's the third book in the Red Gloves collection. This one is about this old woman named Sarah, and she's trying to help this struggling wife kind of keep her marriage. So she tells her the story of her romance with her husband, who's now dead. How basically Sarah wanted to be like this great musician, so she kind of ditched the guy that she was in love with for stardom, and her regrets about doing that. I'm not going to talk about all of that, but in like this special song that she wrote for him when she realized her mistakes and how they found each other, it was a sweet story. And then I read the last one in the series, Hannah's Hope. It's about a teenage girl named Hannah who finds out that her father's not her father, and she kind of had like dim memories of her real dad, but her mom was like super, like, she was kind of a politician's wife. Well, in the story, she was a politician's wife, and like her family was super wealthy. So for a while, she kind of broke away from the wealth and found this like surfer dude and had Hannah. And then she was like, I can't take this poverty. So she ditches surfer dude and takes the kid, and he, she doesn't put him on the birth certificate, so he has no rights to the kid and can't find her. So Hannah loses her dad. And one Christmas, like now that the mom's a politician's wife and never home, she has a guilty conscience, tells her daughter, this politician man isn't your dad, and here's your dad. Not realizing that her daughter is like gonna do like this worldwide search for him so that he can be there for Christmas with her. So yeah, politician mommy isn't too happy, but I was very happy. Great book. Then I read The Bridge by Karen Kingsbury. This is another one I read because I saw the movie coming up on Hallmark and I recorded it. It's about this like young couple who kind of meet at a bookstore called The Bridge, and they sort of go their separate ways due to a misunderstanding, and they come together when the bookstore is falling apart. It's a very short book. I think Keisha from A Book Like You was going to read it too. I'm not sure if I remember correctly. Then I read A Royal Christmas by Melody Carlson. I gave it 4 stars. I was not going to read this book, but Kelly from Kelly Reads a Lot finally convinced me to do it after she reviewed it, and I did, and I loved it. It's about this woman who finds out she's a princess, or not a royalty, not a princess, of this like little small town named Montovia. The only thing that aggravated me is that it's too close to Genovia. Like, can you come up with something more original so that you don't sound like The Princess Diaries plagiarism or something? I don't know why that annoyed me. The only thing that saved it was that it wasn't French. I think it was German. But yeah, she goes to meet her father. The reason I didn't want to read it in the first place was because I was afraid that the dad was a deadbeat, but he wasn't. It gets explained really quickly, and I love the dad. I love, like, the whole ambiance of where she goes. Like, it was a great book. And there was, like, a thrillery aspect, too, along with the romance. But it really wasn't that much about the romance, even though I did enjoy that part of it. It was more about her relationship with her dad, and yeah, I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. And then I read The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. I gave this one 5 stars. I'll read the description. When the department store she works in closes for good, Carmen has perilously little cash and few options. She doesn't want to move in with her perfect sister, Sophia, in Sophia's perfect house with her perfect children and her perfectly ordered Edinburgh life. Frankly, Sophia doesn't exactly want Carmen there either. Her sister has always been sarcastic and difficult, but Sophia has yet another baby on the way, a mother desperate to see her daughters get along, and a client who needs a retail assistant for his ailing bookshop. So welcoming Carmen might still have some benefits for everyone. At Sophia's behest, Carmen is thrown into the daily workings of old Mr. Macready's ancient bookshop on the streets of the old dark city. Can she use her design skills to revamp the store and bring it back to popularity in time to benefit from Christmas shopping traffic? Can she choose between bad boy literary rock star Blair and quiet Quaker student Okie? And will she heal the rift with the most important people of all, her family? So I enjoyed this book a lot. I loved Carmen, and actually went on a journey with her because I was in agreement with her from the beginning to the end. I hated Sophia. I even hated her children, and I don't hate children. Like, I could not stand her kids. Like, they were all annoying, and that's a rare for me. I'm usually, like, hardcore defending kids, but, like, that whole family irked my nerves. But, I mean, Sophia didn't completely improve for me, so I don't see why they had to make up. But, like, I enjoyed the journey with her, with Sophia. I mean, not with Sophia, with Carmen. And I even enjoyed kind of her journey to sort of learn to love her nieces and nephews. She really didn't have anything to do with them before she went to Edinburgh to help her sister. Like, she, like, ditched their birthdays. She didn't even know their names. But honestly, again, like, first impressions of them weren't great. So kind of couldn't blame her for, not being all buddy-buddy with them. And Sophia just has the superiority complex that made me, like, completely side with Carmen. So, But I did enjoy, like, the rest of the town, and I did end up liking the youngest of the kids. But the other two, I could do without them. But, yeah. All in all, I did enjoy it. So I was really excited to get to Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop, which I ended up DNFing an hour into the audiobook. I heard about it not being that great from Kelly Reads a Lot, but frankly, I didn't take her too seriously just because I read more open door books than she does. Like, I know she's not really, not that I go looking for open door romances or anything, but I'm not, like, completely opposed. I'll probably skip stuff or whatever, but I'm not, like, against reading books where people do it before marriage. So I thought that I would, like, not be too upset about it. But I was. Basically, Carmen is kind of criticizing her boyfriend for not wanting to have sex before marriage. Like, it's a whole thing. Why don't you want to do it with me? Am I fat? Am I ugly? And I'm like, okay. Quaker. Hello. Like, what do you expect? So I just DNF'd it because I did not want to spend an entire book listening to her obsess about why he doesn't want to do it with her when he's religious. So, bye-bye. And then I ended the year with The Christmas in the Alps by Melody Carlson. Thank God. She basically, this woman, Simone Sophia. I remember her name because it's the last book I read. She gets a letter from her great-grandmother, basically telling her to go to the French Alps, and find a treasure that she left for her. So she goes there and she meets, like, family, and she runs into this guy on the plane when she's afraid of flying. And they kind of fall for each other, and yeah, she meets family there that she didn't know she had, It was a great read. Like, there was a treasure hunt, family secrets, the whole thing. So, yeah, that is how my year ended. And that is my December wrap up. I might read 2 more Melody Carlson books this month. I'm still kind of in the mood for Christmas, and I have a few more Christmas books left, including some Jenny Colgan books that I bought before, I was in kind of a Christmas book mood, and I bought Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop and a few other ones in another series, so I'm hoping I like those, because otherwise I spent money for nothing. Anyway, that's all I have for now. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!
Speech on.